Okay, so the head sail which will go up at the front. The mainsail, of course, will go here. But that is the mainsail at the moment wrapped up. This part here is the centerboard I alluded to earlier. It's held in place by this optical strap arrangement. If you are the crew sitting up the front here, when you launch, your skipper will say, lower the centerboard, in which case you'll just undo that and pull it backwards and it will go down into the water. When you come back into the beach, the skipper will say, raise the centerboard, in which case you will push it forward and put it in place with the optical strap. Now, Alex is just clearing the halyards. Halyards, as discussed, are the ropes that we use to haul the sails up. Do you want to go main first, Alec, or head sail?
Well, I was just going to get everything free. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Let's do the foresail first.
Okay.
Right, so what do you think would be an important thing to do before you even think of hoisting your sail? Have you got any idea? Get all these clear, yeah, I'm doing that. Then what? What is important is the wind always, isn't it? And the problem with this is that if you put it up downwind, it won't go up because it will jam against this. So the first thing you're going to do is to turn your boat head to wind. Yeah?
Now we should have telltales like on our crosswind boat. They're the little things on the stays that are fluffing, which show us which way the wind's blowing. Unfortunately they're not here, which is something we might try and find some before we go out.
It's too easy to know where the wind's coming from. Part of the exercise that we're doing today is for you to work out where the wind's coming from. As you saw this morning in the earlier talk, it's very important that you know where the wind is coming from and you've got some sort of indicator. Just needs a bit of, what's ideal is cassette tape.
I think
It's lovely because it doesn't get wet. And it shows beautifully where the wind's coming from. And it doesn't wear too badly either. You'll see that a lot of boats actually have these indicators on the sail itself, somewhere near the front of the sail. When I start
this is
my
private video collection, is it?
First wedding.
I usually put something like 20 of them on the sail, and then I'll slowly decide which ones are relevant and which ones aren't. And I'll take them off and go down to maybe 3 on the back edge of the sail, the leech, and maybe 1 or 2 in the middle of the sail, about a metre or so back from the thing that causes the wind to be disturbed. You really want the smooth, where the wind is travelling smoothly across the sail, because the smoothness of the wind crossing your sail is what gives you the power. If your sail is all wrinkly and old, it's going to ripple across it and you're going to lose a lot of power. You see the people who have sails like this are like new. Look, and keep it cranky. After a little while, flapping in the wind, out in the ultraviolet, they'll lose all their power. It's just like a dish cloth. And sail like a dish cloth. Right, so we're going to fix the luff, right, in front of the sail. Remember they said luffing up? Luffing up is putting the luff of the sail towards the wind. Yeah? Bearing away, that's obvious, isn't it? But luffing up gets people. Right, now we're going to clip this to the front of the sail. There's, as you say, these shackles, and we're going to fix that to the front. Now there's already one there, and hopefully this is going to allow the sail to twist from side to side. Remember, we're going to be moving it through at least 90 degrees. Right, so now we've got that on, you make sure they're tight, and then that's going to be pulled up the mast. Yeah? So we want to fix the head of the sail, So we got the luff of the sail. Where are we? We've got the luff of the sail, which is the front edge, the leech of the sail, which is the back edge, and the, what's the bottom one called? Anyone? Anyone? Hood? Good. Sailed before, we got you identified then. Right, so we now got it ready to go. Make sure the halyards are clear. This one here is probably for a spinnaker pole. We're not going to use the spinnaker today. That's advanced sailing. So, that up there. Okay. So, to give us a little bit of purchase. So, it's not fixed onto this here, right? As you can see. So, you may need a little bit more purchase. That's what this is for. Gives you an extra ability to tension the rig. Another way you can do it is to pull on this. Right? So it pulls the mast right forward and you get this tight. If your rig isn't tight, the boat will not sail very well into the wind. Remember, we're going into the edge of the wind. So you need this nice and tight. And the other thing you have with the sheets, remember we tried to explain what sheets were, and you have one each side. So you have on this side, and you can put a figure 8 on it. And that's your port sheet. And this one is your starboard sheet. Yeah? So you can do it like that. So you've got two separate ends. Or you can join them together. Because it's really embarrassing when you're out there and it's quite a strong wind and you're up there on the top of the boat and the jib is clipped on down here and you want to let everything go. Remember he was talking about letting everything go? And you can't get off there and let it go because it's down there. So I join them together with what's called a sheet bend for joining sheets together, bending sheets together. Another old Navy thing. So that you've always got access to your sails from the high side. The panic side. You want to let everything go. Right, so your mainsail is the next job. You get your power by the wind coming through the gap between your foresail and your mainsail. So here we go, we're going to unroll this. I think we'll unroll it first. And you'll see it's got a rope on this one set into the front of the sail. And that rope goes through a little narrow gap here, some of you can see it, and runs up a track inside the rear of the mast. Right? There it goes, in like that. Now, we'll attach the halyard to it. And normally, as there's two of you have the boat, it's a good idea to have one person feeding the luff rope into the boat, into the mast. What tends to happen here, if you start jerking it, it'll jam and it'll tear your sail. So it's a good idea to have somebody feeding the front in, nice and hoist up, and nice and smooth. And you always, when you're winching or pulling something, keep an eye on what's happening. What is happening as you pull. Never sort of get your head down and jerk away, because something will jam, it'll go up inside there and tear. Always watch the effect it's having.
I think that might be eased as far as it can.
Yeah.
I think it may be eased all it can, is it?
Is it? Oh.
Okay, I'll try again.
Yeah, it's on the knob.
Yeah, I'll try again. Okay, forward. Oh, thank you.
Are we in?
Almost.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
As we said before, comparatively light winds today, so we don't have to make the sail particularly taut. If the wind was up, we would be tensioning these things, getting the foot flat, and getting the luff tight. Right, the main sheet, as discussed before, is this object here, the accelerator, if you will. Hooks on there. Control end is here. Okay, so haul her in and it comes in. It's just finding the boom bang there, as I said, one of my favourite terms on a boat. I'll just release it for you here. Thank you. Once again, the boom vang is another control line to flatten the sail out if needed, or when the wind is from behind, it stops the boom lifting up.
Right. Mistake. Wrong side.
I can't remember, is there enough sheet length for continuous sheets on this? I don't know if there is.
Well.
Oh yeah, that'll work.
Yep.
Yep.
That's the only snag. Sometimes these lines are made quite short.
Yeah, so
Some people don't like an inch too much rope on their boats because they say it's weight and it slows them down. They get into racing and they get really extreme. Carbon fibre, everything.
right, put them
How
through
about
attack.
that? What have we got? Right. Luff up. Bear away.
Right, we're putting ourselves, the wind, as we can see, is coming from this side of the boat. We've got a port tack happening. The wind is hitting there. We're all sitting on this side of the boat, generally speaking. And though in light conditions you may have to shift away. We're sailing away. Oh, where's our tiller gone?
It's here.
Ah, good. Let's put the tiller on so that we can demonstrate the whole tacking drill. Hope you guys were watching closely because you guys have to rig that boat next.
Next time.
Just for your information, that big stick that's going in there is called a pintle. It's another lovely nautical term. That's a bit loose now. We need a Milwaukee strap on that one.
Once you go out and you push the rudder down, obviously you've got to wait until there's enough depth on the sand. You've got to get out a bit. Then you push the rudder down by hand and put this pin in and it stops it rising up. If you're coming into shore, you've got to remember to take that pin out because you'll just rip the back of the boat if you're coming at any speed with the sand. Yeah? It may be tight enough and you don't even need to worry about it. a light day like today, you might leave it out completely because there's not enough speed you're going to do that's going to cause this to lift up. And if senior beginners, you're guaranteed to forget something. You know, it's a bit like starting to drive a car, those of you that have done that. You've got so many things to think about, mirrors, clutches, handbrakes. Yeah, it's the same in a boat when you start. You wish you had another pair of hands. You wish you had one set of feet less. You'll find that that's the thing you'll trip over. And one of the things that I'll be showing you today, those of you that are out with me and out in the other boats, is how to tack, right? Because you've got to decide here, as you go from one side to the other, which you let go of, the main sheet or the rudder. Yeah.
Let's put them through a tack on the hard here. So wind, as we can see, is coming from that direction, southeasterly, hitting our sails there. The weight is on that sheet there, that jib sheet. Okay, Alec is going to call a tack.
Right. I've got to say ready to tack.
Okay, in which case I'm going to release that but not let it go. I have it. I'm ready to release it, but I'm not letting it go yet.
And he's going to reply that he's ready.
Ready about? Yes.
Ready?
Yes.
Tacking, and I push the helm away. Right? Not too far. You don't need to push it right over.
Now this head sail wants to come across, as we can see, so I release it from that side and haul it in on this side.
I don't want to get in the boat because it's only an eggshell, right? There are some boats you can trample around in. It's only a glass
Let's not push it.
No. But when you go to tack, ready to tack, and you push that away, don't go as far as it'll go. Yeah, some boats will go right round, and then you just put the brakes on. You're just going to push it away far enough for the boat to change direction. Right, so you push it away, you're then going to decide which way you're going to turn. Are you going to turn forward? Are you going to turn back? Right. You should really keep control of this all the time. Right? So you should be facing forward as you turn, which means you go back foot, turn, push that away, and when you get across the other side, you'll be steering behind your back, right? And it's relatively easy to then change hands, yeah? Behind your back. You don't want to let go of this, because that's the thing that's going to knock you in. That's where the power is. That's where the engine is. And you can still steer behind your back. And you've got plenty of time. What I say is when you do change sides, don't sit back that way because you can't reach it behind your back. Sit on the edge of your hip, right? And it's behind your back, then you can change hands. And then turn.
Ready to tack back the other way. So, wind's still coming from the same direction. Wind is sitting that side of the sail.
Ready about?
Yeah. Ready about. Release.
Tack in.
Oop.
And some people say lee-ho and all sorts of fancy things, but whatever you decide is your code of what you're going to say, but it's ready to tack. You've got to tell everyone on board, and this is only two of you usually, tell everyone that you're going to go, and then you tell them when they're going to go. You saw he didn't let that off right away, he held on to it. You don't actually bring it across to the other side until it's gone backwards. It just goes backwards, then you bang it across. And of course, on a windy day, you'd be hurtling across there to get your weight on the high side before the wind blew it over again.
We run them through a drive.
Right.
So we're easing off. We're moving from towards the wind, going upwind. We're coming around, probably on a beam reach now, the wind hitting the side of the boat. We're going to keep coming further around. The wind will be starting to come behind us. Now, this sail, because we are away from the wind, like the mainsail, is eased out.
half a wind, thank you.
This wind would be good.
Right. So we're now sailing pretty well across the wind, yeah? It's easy to do. There's where the wind is, see? So it's now, there we are, that's better. We've got the puff on
That's
the
it.
And now, you're now going to change direction away from the wind. Tacking, you change towards the wind, and of course, you're in the no-go area, so there's no power for that 90 degrees. Now, the power is there all the time. That's the one that hurts. So jibing, you've got to keep your head down. And you've got to get across smart when it does come. There's not much pulling you over, so you're able to balance in the middle of the boat. So what you do is you stand in the middle of the boat, turn the tiller extension the other way, and you bring it towards you, looking up at the boom all the time. The minute the boom comes across, and you'll see how quickly you straighten the rudder. The minute it comes across, you straighten. You may be slightly over-straightened, because the centrifugal force will keep you turning. You want to stop it, and you'll see how quickly it goes.
Really?
Do a demo. I'll
Okay.
put myself out of the way.
Okay. Calling it?
Yeah. Ready to jibe?
Yep.
And we're going to jibe. And you see, we're now running dead downwind. I'm shooting in a little bit to get the wind through the leak, and it comes across with full power all the way. Now that's really light wind, and sometimes in light wind you might actually have to give it a hand to come over. You pull it over at the time you want. Yeah? But in stronger winds you don't need to do that. You want to just bring it in a little bit, so let the wind get round the back of it, and then it'll go. And when it does go, you may have to let this off to take some of the shock. You'll notice that it's hitting there. Yeah? So what I would do is I'll put a figure of 8 in there to stop that damaging. Because what that'll do is about a 4-to-1 lever. It's going to lever that straight off the mast. Yeah? It might damage that. So there we are. I've got my stopper knot. Is actually preventing that hitting. Okay? Lots of little tips there.
Alright, we might, because we're getting towards sailing time, we're going to rig crosswind, yes Rick?
Yes.
Right, so this is our Learn to Sail boat obviously, kindly donated by Alan and Judith Boy and some members of moving to Western Australia and wanted to make a contribution to the club, so we thank them for that. As you'll see, it's a lovely boat. What we need to do here, actually Rick, you're the expert on crosswind currently. I've only sailed it twice.